Hi, I'm Seamless, and today I'm going to talk to you about what the Pluck thing does in Harmor. There's no preview sound because this is just gonna be very vast. So now this is funny because I had assumed very incorrectly about what the Pluck does. Now by default, when you're having it's always on off by default, and if you turn it, that happens. Pretty straightforward. And if you look at the visualizer, you can see what it seems to do. Like it is a filter coming in and just makes the pluck sound. That's something that you normally, when you want to make this sort of sound, you go to like a filter and you either automate it or create an envelope that does this kind of stuff naturally. And various plugins have options for this, and that's sort of where the sound comes from. But Harmor, being an additive synthesizer, can take advantage of some things and make it much more interesting than just that. So if you go to Pluck Shape in here, you get this thing. Now, when I first saw this, I had assumed that this was basically a time envelope, that like I hit it, bing, and then it would just go down, and that's how fast this thing worked. And that hypothesis sort of seemed to hold, because when I did this, it took longer for it to come back down. When I did this, it was faster. So like that's basically why I thought that's what I did. But if you think about it, if I did stuff like that, that's not what it would do. And in fact, when I do stuff like this, you can see this odd behavior. And that's because what the Pluck map does is way cooler. So by default, when we see this, what this is the Pluck decay time for the individual harmonics. So this is the highest harmonic and this is the lowest harmonic. So that means the highest harmonic cuts off really fast, and then they gradually increase in decay time, and because it's a straight line, it creates this cascading effect, which I mistook for basically an automated filter. And what it is controlling the individual harmonics decay speed. So when I do stuff like this, I now have set a group of higher harmonics to take about as much time to decay as some of the harmonics over here. And you can see that happening as a result in the map. So that's just awesome, because you can kind of hear what's happening right now. It makes the sound just a little bit more interesting, and you could do even crazier. Just crazier things, and like that's just super duper cool. It wasn't like it was kind of a epiphany to discover that that's what that did. Like I didn't know. I had just been not using it to its fullest potential forever. And such. While I'm here talking about Pluck, let's actually look at what the this blur option does here. So let's do default. So Harmor has a harmonic blur option, which if you've ever messed with on the default setting here, you might have noticed it didn't really do anything. It has to do with what it does and also its order in life. As you see here, blur is at the very end of everything, and that's important. This is because basically what blur does is it delays various actions on groups of harmonics. And to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a filter LFO. Just all right, so now we have some action going on. And as we see here, the default setting for this LFO creates these peaks and falls and stuff like that. Now, if I were to engage the blur, suddenly you can see some just weirdness going on. And the apparent effect of this is that it kind of smears the harmonics of what's happening. So and that's because the blur is in this set it's after the filters. This is the unit order for the various effects. As you can see, if I bring the filter to after the blur, I'm scrolling, by the way. I'm hovering the mouse over it and I'm scrolling, and that's causing that to happen. You see nothing's happening, but then... yeah. Now, when I engage the Pluck filter and turn it to time, to blur, you see how suddenly it's not doing the Pluck anymore. It's in fact blurring everything based on the Pluck shape mapping. So what's happening is that there's more blur happening as time progresses during the lower frequencies, because that's how it's set into decay. But I could change that. And now it's only blurring where I'm telling it to blur. You might notice that it's keyboard tracking, and that's because, like most maps in Harmor, this is per octave and not per spectrum position. So in this case, the Pluck amount is a result of blur. So if I bring it all the way down, the blur effect is shorter and faster. So if I had tried this on just the basic default saw wave, nothing would have been apparently happening because all frequencies are engaged all the time. So it being blurred doesn't change what it's doing. So anyway, I just wanted to point this out because it's a particularly unintuitive but rather interesting effect that Harmor can do, and it can result in some cool basses sometimes. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.